Have you ever wondered how a day in the life of an ancient Egyptian unfolded? As dawn's first light brushed across the horizon, ancient Egyptian households stirred into activity. The day started early, long before the punishing heat of the desert sun could make work unbearable. Family members roused themselves from their simple beds, often nothing more than a mat on the floor, and began their day with the rising sun, a testament to their resilience and tenacity. The morning air would fill with the scent of baking bread, a staple in the Egyptian diet, made from emmer wheat or barley. This humble loaf, often accompanied by a jug of beer, formed the backbone of their breakfast. The beer, contrary to modern perceptions, was a nutritious brew, low in alcohol and high in vital nutrients. Bread and beer, in their simplicity, provided sustenance and energy for the day's activities. Meanwhile, the household chores were set in motion. Floors were swept, homes tidied, and animals attended to. These tasks were shared among the family members, each contributing to the smooth running of the household. Despite the simplicity of their dwellings, cleanliness was of utmost importance, a reflection of their spiritual beliefs and their reverence for Ma'at, the ancient Egyptian concept of truth, balance, order, harmony, law, morality, and justice. As the morning chores were completed, the children, seen as blessings from the gods, were prepared for their day. Many would accompany their parents to learn the family trade, while others, particularly those from wealthier families, would receive education, a privilege that was not universally accessible. The morning bustle, a symphony of activity, was a testament to the industriousness of the ancient Egyptians. Their day-to-day life was a delicate balance of work and family, a dance choreographed to the rhythm of the rising and setting sun. Their homes, whether grand mansions of the wealthy or humble mud-brick dwellings of the commoners, were centers of love, life, and productivity. As the morning chores were done, ancient Egyptians prepared for the day ahead. As the sun rose higher, the day's work began in earnest. The ancient Egyptians embarked on a myriad of activities that formed the backbone of their society. From weaving and professional mourning to serving in the households of the affluent, the Egyptians were a diligent people. Intriguingly, both men and women partook in these activities, a testament to the equality that was a cornerstone of their society. In the pre-Greco-Roman culture, Egyptian women were not mere bystanders. They owned property, testified in court, and could even inherit. A woman could step into her deceased husband's trade, an opportunity that was restricted when the Greeks and Romans arrived. The marriage contracts of the time also bore witness to this equality, often including mentions of allowances and items of value brought into the marriage by the woman, which forever remained hers. The social structure, however, did play a role in determining the opportunities available to an individual. The higher their status, the easier it was to obtain education and access different professions. But regardless of their social standing, every Egyptian had a role to play, a task to execute. This society was not just about work, there was also time for leisure. When the tasks of the day were done, Egyptians would engage in games and music, a welcome respite from the rigors of their daily chores. Children were considered a blessing from the gods, and their laughter and playfulness added a sense of liveliness to the otherwise industrious Egyptian lifestyle. The ancient Egyptians were a people of balance. They understood the importance of work, but also the value of relaxation and family. They built their homes with care, whether it was a commoner's house made from sun-baked mud bricks or a wealthy mansion decorated luxuriously. They believed in equality, and this belief was reflected in their society. As the sun began to set, the ancient Egyptians wrapped up their day's work and returned home. They had fulfilled their roles, carried out their tasks, and now it was time to retreat to the comfort of their homes, to their families, and to rest, ready to repeat the cycle the next day. With the setting sun, the ancient Egyptians retreated to the comfort of their homes. The hustle and bustle of the day's activities subsided, ushering in a time of quiet contemplation and familial bonding. You see, evenings in an ancient Egyptian household were not just about rest, but about strengthening the ties that bound them together. As dusk fell, the families would gather for dinner. But unlike our modern-day practice of congregating around one large table, each individual had a small table of their own. Meals were simple, yet nourishing, often consisting of bread, vegetables, and sometimes fish or meat. This practice of individual tables wasn't a sign of disconnectedness, but rather a custom unique to their culture. The importance of family in their society cannot be overemphasized. The father, mother, and children were the nucleus of the family, but their household often extended to include mothers-in-law, sisters, aunts, and sisters-in-law. The evening meal was a time for them to come together, share the day's experiences, and perhaps indulge in light-hearted banter. It was a time of unity and connection, a time to reinforce the bonds of love and respect that held them together. Children, considered a blessing from the gods, filled these homes with laughter and joy. They were doted upon, their every need attended to with love and care. And as the evening wore on, stories would be shared, tales of valor, of gods and goddesses, of the mighty Nile, instilling in the young ones a sense of pride and belonging to this ancient civilization. The evening was also a time for personal grooming and hygiene. They would clean themselves with natron, a type of salt, and oil their bodies. Hair was combed, clothes were changed, and the day's dust was washed away, preparing them for the tranquility of the night. As night fell, the ancient Egyptians retreated to their bedrooms, preparing to start the cycle all over again the next day. They would sleep on beds raised from the ground, their dreams filled with the promise of another day in the life of an ancient Egyptian. So how was a day in the life of an ancient Egyptian? Well, it started at dawn with the daily routines in the household, each member contributing to the smooth running of the family unit. As the sun rose higher in the sky, the day was filled with various activities. Some engaged in the family trade, while others served in the houses of the rich or pursued professions unique to their gender. In the evening, the home transformed into a hub of social interactions. The ceremonial room buzzed with guests while the family members gathered around their individual tables for dinner. Despite the absence of surnames, the family tree was etched in stone, quite literally on funeral stones, to ensure the deceased were remembered. The day ended in the intimate confines of the bedroom or kitchen, the heart of the home. It's fascinating to think about how much we share with the ancient Egyptians, despite the thousands of years that separate us. Their day-to-day life was filled with activities not too dissimilar from ours, making them not so distant after all.